guys, it's Julia. So in today's video I'm going to be going through a bunch of new palette releases, new eyeshadow palettes that have recently been put out on the market, and I'm going to be telling you what I think you should buy and what you should skip. So beauty companies have really been pushing out eyeshadow palettes, which I love because eyeshadow palettes are my favorite type of makeup to buy and to own. So there have been so many different eyeshadow palettes that have been recently released, and in this video I just wanted to go through the ones that I really liked and recommend and tell you what I think is worth the hype and what is worth the skip. My palette collection has actually grown so much during the last couple of months, and I actually really need to do an updated palette collection, so if you guys want to see that, please let me know in the comments below because I'm thinking of doing one towards the end of the year, like November or so. So that's enough chit chat for now. Let's get into the video, and I cannot wait to show you guys what my favorite new releases are. Okay, so the first palette that I'm going to start off with is actually the newest released one and the newest palette in my collection, and it is the Too Faced Just Peachy Mattes palette. This is from the new Too Faced Peaches and Cream collection. As you can see, the outer packaging is really nice and sturdy with a really nice gold exterior, so I think it's going to be really great for travel. You're also getting a really nice big mirror in here, so again, good for travel. I have this gorgeous array of warm tone shades. I was really nervous that I wasn't actually going to like this because Too Faced has been kind of on a losing streak lately. A lot of their new releases people haven't really liked, so I was concerned that this was going to be a dud as well. But I'm actually very pleasantly surprised with how well this palette performs. As you can see, you get a really nice array of peachy, warm-toned matte shades in this palette. I like that Too Faced kind of veered away from the kind of orange and fiery warm-tone palette that we've been seeing recently and went for more berry tones and burgundies. I think it's a really nice twist and a very good palette to transition from summer to fall. I just got this, so I haven't really had time to play with it a lot, but I did do a look with it that I posted on my Instagram, and from playing with it twice, I've had a very good impression of this palette. The colors are really, really pigmented and very blendable as well. It's what you would expect for paying $45 for a palette. You're getting amazing quality shades, something I've really found to be lacking from Too Faced's latest palettes. As far as dud shades in here, I haven't really noticed any shades that don't perform as well as I'd like them to. You have two really nice light shades for setting your eyelids, and then you have a bunch of beautiful light transition shades as well. So I think you really have everything you need in here to create a nice full look. And again, it's just a really, really beautiful palette. $45, I think it's a really beautiful palette. You get 12 colors. So yeah, I've been really enjoying this palette, and I think this is worth buying. So there's one new palette release that everyone has been talking about. Everyone. And it's a very controversial one, but I'm going to talk about it right now, and it is the Anastasia Subculture palette. So the Jaclyn Hill palette of this summer had some controversy, but it ain't got nothing on this Anastasia palette here. This was known for being very powdery, having a ton of fallout, and not blending very well. I saw all the bad reviews before I bought this. I saw everyone hating on this palette, and still I went out and went to Sephora and I bought it myself because I just wanted to see what it was all about. And if I didn't like it, I was going to return it. But I actually really liked this palette, and here's why. So first off, I want to start with the packaging. You get a really nice velvet outer. It goes really nicely with the Modern Renaissance. It just looks so pretty. They look like sisters on my vanity. I actually showed it to my sister and I was like, hey, it's us as palettes. And she's like, oh, that's so cute. So this is the palette on the outside. Really, really pretty. On the inside, you have this really nice, unique array of colors. I think this is a very, very unique palette, and Norvina did put the colors together really well. You have two duochrome shimmers here, and then one really gorgeous glittery shade. I love that one. Yeah, the rest of the shades are pretty much all mattes. You do get a lot of kick up with the mattes, but the way I like to use this palette is I just go in with a very, very light hand. I pretty much do that with all my eyeshadow palettes, but this one I just be very careful with it, and I honestly haven't really had any problems with it. So I've been really liking this palette, but I can see why other people wouldn't like it. It is super pigmented. Like, these are the most pigmented eyeshadows in my collection. The shimmers are super, super foiled and very shiny. As far as dud shades, the only thing that I really noticed didn't really work that well was the shade All Star. I had a little bit of trouble blending this one, but again, I could still blend it, so it wasn't that big of a deal to me. And the tips I have for making this palette work, first of all, use a very light touch, and then also I would say to use brushes with very, very soft bristles. The brushes in here, I really would not recommend using this fluffy blending side. The smaller, more detailed side has finer, softer hairs, but the blending side, the hairs are a little bit coarser, so they will create more powdery kick up. I recommend using a very, very soft synthetic brush. All my brushes are synthetic and vegan, but I do have this really nice one from Elizabeth Mott. It's a blending brush. It has very, very soft bristles. I just go in with this one, and I find that everything blends a lot better if you're using softer brushes. So overall, the color scheme is absolutely beautiful and very, very unique. So if you're willing to work with it, I would say that it is a very good palette. I do understand why other people don't like it, and I really respect everyone's opinions on this one. It seems that some people either hate it or absolutely love it. There doesn't seem to be an in-between on this palette. Personally, I love it. I just think it's such a beautiful color array, very unique. I've gotten it to work for me. So if you're willing to just take your time, be a little bit more gentle with it, and work with this palette, I think you would really love it. Okay, so speaking of the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, that was actually the next one I wanted to mention. So I included this in my Ride or Die video last weekend, and that is because this is my favorite eyeshadow palette in my entire collection. So I'm just going to get it right off the bat by saying, yes, I would definitely recommend this palette, and I think you should definitely buy it. People don't like the outside packaging because it might get a little dirty because it is white. If it does get dirty, I will just wipe it down with a cotton swab and a little bit of rubbing alcohol. It just takes off all the eyeshadow stains, so that isn't really a big problem for me. Again, if you watch YouTube, you've probably seen this palette somewhere. And this color array, absolutely stunning, so beautiful. There's actually some colors in here that I've had this for like 2 months, but I haven't even gotten to use some of the colors yet because there's just so many different colors. And every time I open this palette, I'm just so inspired to create a new look. It is amazing quality. I truly believe that this is high-end at a super affordable price. There's many shades in here that can actually create a very similar look to the Naked Heat palette. So if you're getting this one, I might recommend skipping out on the Naked Heat palette. It has a lot of variety, but again, it doesn't have all the shades in the Naked Heat palette. There are some really nice dark purple shades in the Naked Heat that are not in here. However, you do get a huge array of shades in here. You have 35 shades for $38, so a little bit over $1 a pan, and the pans are very large. This was released in June, but I'm talking about it now because they just did a restock of it, and I think they're going to do a few more restocks before it permanently goes away. So I'm really, really sad that this is limited edition because this is my favorite Morphe palette ever. I actually think I'm going to get a backup of this one for when I run out of this because it is my favorite palette, and I really couldn't imagine what I would do without this one. Super versatile for travel, so you can pretty much create a bunch of different looks with it. I think it's a very, very, very nice palette. In terms of dud shades, the only one that I've noticed here, I'm going to hold it up like this. The only dud shade that I've noticed is this brown shimmer here. A little bit hard to work with, but Jaclyn did mention that it was formulated differently in her video. You can really only apply this with your finger. It's not usable with a brush or anything like that. And even with your finger, you do have a little bit of hard time getting a nice pigmentation out of it. The reason that it's formulated like that is because it's packed with shimmer in it that diffuses as you blend it. So yeah, seriously, I cannot recommend this palette enough. I know I've pretty much recommended all the palettes in this video, but yeah, I love this. I love this so much. I really, really hope that Morphe makes this permanent. Like at the last minute, they're like, surprise, we're gonna make it permanent. That would make me really happy. Unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna happen, but until then, I would recommend picking one up if you haven't gotten the chance to. I just think it's a really amazing palette, and she did an amazing job with this. Another palette that hit the market is the Urban Decay Naked Heat palette. Like I said, there's a lot of shades in here that are very similar to the Jaclyn Hill palette. I'm just going to show you the color array right now. In my opinion, this is the best naked palette that has ever been created so far. It's really amazing for a warm tone lover. I think that it's a very unique palette as well. Just a really nice spin on a warm tone palette. Instead of going for like orange and yellow shades like the Natasha Denona Sunset palette, or instead of going for like rosy tone pink shades like the Modern Renaissance, I think this is a very unique take. They went for like more terracotta shades in here, so it's kind of a blend between orange and pinkish. The shadows in here are very pigmented and blendable. Again, they included a really nice array of mattes in here. That was one of my gripes about the other naked palettes, is that there's not enough mattes in the palette. But in this one, you do get enough mattes to create a full look, so I'm very happy that they did that. So some of my favorite shades in here, I really like Cayenne and He Devil, and then the really nice pretty shimmery shades here. They do look kind of similar, the shimmer shades, but again, I think they're all just really beautiful. Red shades, I'd say the only one that didn't really work as much as I wanted to was Unfuego. It has a little bit of purple in it, and as you know, purples are pretty hard to formulate well. So I think they did do a good job in formulating it. It's just not as like pigmented as the other shades in it, and you do have to build it up more. So it's very limited in the looks it can create. Honestly, I think it can only create like 1 or 2 looks. You can either do like a nice terracotta smoky eye, or you can do a darker smoky eye with the same terracotta shades. So not super versatile. If you collect naked palettes, I would definitely recommend going for this one. And if you like the shades, definitely recommend going for this one. But if you do want more variety, I think I would go with the Jaclyn Hill palette. You could totally skip out on this one. I do love both, and I just use both of them often. But if you do want this one, I'd recommend it a lot. So this next palette is a new one from Marc Jacobs. This is the new Iconic palette, and I got the shade Scandalous. They came out with a bunch of the new Iconic palettes, and this is the one that really attracted me. Again, it's the typical warm tone neutrals that I love and just use all the time. The colors in here are very similar to the Modern Renaissance, but in my opinion, the quality of these shadows is even better. You do get fewer shades for more money, so that's a con to this one, but the shadows in here are so soft and buttery. I think they did reformulate the shadows that are in these palettes because I had the Lolita palette a while ago. I don't really know where that is anymore. I had the Lolita palette from Marc Jacobs, and it just wasn't as buttery and soft and pigmented as these ones are. In my perfect palette tag, I said that these have the best color payoff because they're really pigmented and just super soft. Another con is that this is pretty expensive. It's $50 for 7 shades, so a little pricey, but I love this palette so much. You do have a really nice array of neutrals. If you just cover up that red, it's a super, super neutral everyday palette, but you do get the nice pop of red if you want to make a more romantic and warm toned look. Dud shades, none. There are no dud shades in here. I really do like that they included a shimmery brow bone highlight and then a more matte shade to set your entire eyelid. Just overall, I'd say this is definitely in the top 5 palettes that I own. I'm actually going to do a top 5 high-end palettes that I own video. This is definitely going to be in it because I love this palette so, so much. So overall, I would say that I definitely recommend this. It's very expensive. There are dupes of it if you're willing to sacrifice a little bit of luxuriousness and quality of it. But I love the packaging. I love everything about this palette. I need to reach for this more often because I'm pretty much using like all the new stuff that I got, and I got this in July, so I've been reaching for other things, but I will always love this palette. Just so, so beautiful. So I believe the last palette that Morphe came out with before the Jaclyn Hill palette were the Morphe 25A and 25B palettes. I have the 25B here. I didn't pick up the 25A because it's just really similar to a lot of the shades that I have in my collection and very similar to a lot of the shades in the Jaclyn Hill palette. But I did pick up the 25B because I saw a lot of people on Morphe's Instagram creating just really beautiful burgundy eye looks with this one, so I really wanted to pick it up. I heard that the quality was a step up from other Morphe palettes. So first of all, I do like the packaging on this one a lot more than I like these like typical Black Pro packaging that they have on the other Morphe palettes. I do like the clear outside. I normally don't really like clear plastic packaging on eyeshadow palettes. I would prefer like the cardboard packaging that they have on the Jaclyn Hill palette. However, I do think it's a nicer clear packaging than other palettes. For example, the Wet n Wild palettes, I really hate that packaging. So yeah, it looks like I haven't touched this at all. These are really nice and pigmented, honestly. It's not very unique. It's very similar to all the other palettes that I have in my collection. If you're wanting a nice neutral starting palette for a very affordable price, this was I think $18. So if you're wanting a nice affordable palette with a lot of neutrals that you can just start out doing your makeup with, I would definitely recommend this one. But if you already have a ton of palettes in your collection, I don't really see the need for this. It is good quality, and if you collect Morphe stuff, maybe, but overall, I'm not like head over heels in love with this. I don't think it's really anything special. I do think the quality is nice and the price is really good. So the next palette that I have is from a very affordable brand called ColourPop, and this palette's a lot smaller than I actually thought it was going to be. It is the Cute AF palette, or the Yes Please Pressed Powder Shadow palette, and like it's super tiny. Like it's the size of my head. My head's pretty big, but like yeah. Very small palette, very small pans. So I thought it was going to be like the size of normal eyeshadow pans from ColourPop, but that would have been a really good deal. By the way, this is $16, you get 12 shades. So I'm just going to run through what I think of this palette. First of all, I bought this because it was a dupe for the Natasha Denona Sunset palette. I love that palette so much, but I really just couldn't justify spending $129 on a bunch of shades that I pretty much already have. I was buying it for the face value and that beautiful yellow in there. But this one had the yellow that I really wanted. It's right here. And then I am wearing this palette on my eyes today. You can check my Instagram for this look. So the number one gripe that I have with this ColourPop palette is that it gets really dirty. This morning I was using it to do my eyes. I love this look, by the way. I was using it to do my eyes. I just tapped my brush in, and like before I knew it, there was just powder all over my palette. It was like stained with all these really beautiful colors, very pigmented colors. But the problem with that is that it gets very stained very easily. So even when I did try to wipe it off with like a cotton swab like I do with the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette, it just gets dirty really easily. I consider myself to be very clean with my makeup and my eyeshadow palettes especially. I always tap off my brush, try to make sure that no powders are flying anywhere. I just try to make sure everything is clean. But for some reason this just keeps getting dirty all the time. So I do not like that, but I do love this palette a lot. This is actually the first time I've tried ColourPop's pressed shadows. I did buy a bunch of the singles after I tried this out because I did like it a lot. They blend fairly well. I've definitely seen shadows that blend easier, but again, these are just really inexpensive, and I do think that this is an amazing deal. And as I did say, it is a very small palette, but now that I think about it, I actually do like the fact that it is small. Because, like, be honest, have you ever gone through an entire eyeshadow palette? If you have, like, maybe one eyeshadow palette, then maybe a tiny palette wouldn't be the best thing. But I have a ton of eyeshadow palettes, and I'm never going to get through, like, all of them. Dud shades, I don't have any in this palette. I think they all worked very well. My favorite shade in here actually is this gold here. Like, legit, you don't even have to use a wet brush to pick up this shimmer shade. You can just pick it up with a dry, flat shader brush and, like, pack it all over your lids. I'm wearing it today. So stunning. So I would recommend this if you like the colors. It's still really hard to get. Like, this released a while ago, and it's still very hard to get your hands on. ColourPop keeps doing restocks. I'm pretty sure this is going to go, like, away soon, because I think this is limited edition. I'm very glad that I bought this. I do like it a lot, and I've been using it, even though it does get dirty. So the last palette that I have to talk to you guys about today is the new Carly Bible and BH palette. So this is the deluxe edition of her collaboration with BH Cosmetics. I know that they had a bit of a smaller palette last year with some of the similar shades in here, but then this one they added a bunch of new shades and some beautiful highlights. They also have a really, really big mirror, so very, very good for travel. And I know that this released in like April or May, I think. I don't know. A lot earlier in the year, but the reason I'm talking about this in this video is because this just recently came to the Ulta stores near me, so I'm pretty sure this is new in stores. But yeah, not a new palette online. So I absolutely love this palette. I've never tried BH's eyeshadows before, and I think this is just such an amazing quality eyeshadow palette for the price. It's only $23, I think. The highlighters, honestly, are like high-end highlighters, very similar to like what's in the ABH Glow Kits, just super, super pigmented. And the shadows themselves, the eyeshadows, really beautiful, soft color scheme. It's very nice for doing very pretty natural looks, just like really ethereal makeup like Carly always does on her channel. The packaging is also stunning, stunning. I love the marble interior, and then the outside is just very simple and sleek. So the eyeshadows are very soft and blendable with a good amount of pigmentation. The white highlighter is a little bit chunky, but still you can totally make it work. And then I do like the fact that she included a bunch of different highlighter shades for different skin tones. I think that's amazing. She did work to make this palette pretty inclusive. And even though I can't use these two last highlighter shades, I can use them on my eyes, and they make very, very pretty shimmer shades on your eyes. So overall, I would 100% recommend this, not only because Carly is just such an amazing, kind, compassionate person, but because this palette is truly, truly stunning. I know that this is also limited edition. All the good palettes seem to be limited edition. While you can pick it up, I would definitely recommend getting it. It's just such a beautiful palette, and I think that BH Cosmetics is a really good company. I definitely think I want to try more from them because this really impressed me. Alright guys, so those are all the new eyeshadow palette releases that I picked up and that I really recommend to you guys. Overall, I'd say this is a really, really positive video. I pretty much liked all the new eyeshadow palette releases that I picked up, and I pretty much recommend all of them to you guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down below. Let me know what other kind of videos you'd like to see. If you want to see any more palette related videos, I would be very happy to do that because I love eyeshadow palettes. I love eyeshadow palettes. I just sounded like Oprah.
I love bread. I love bread.
I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, so thank you so much for stopping by my channel. And if you made it to the very end of this video, I love you.